Good morning, everyone. Well, guys, today we have a group of experts, people that really can help us during this crisis that it's going on. We are going to be dealing with stress and mental health. It's important to know how to manage, and it's important to know where can we get help if needed. So let me introduce you, well, Mike Khader, everybody knows who he is, but let me introduce you to the other panel. We have Hyatt. Did I say your name right? I hope. My accent is a little thick, but they got to know how to, to learn the way I speak. So we have Anne, we have the director, Linda Afonso, also a director of a particular area, Mary Mackintosh, clinical supervisor, and Karen Best, our Yonkers city judge candidate. So welcome you all, welcome all. So Anne, please take the lead and introduce yourself and your team, please.
Hello, I'm Anne Hyatt, and I'm the Director of Development External Relations at the Guidance Center of Westchester. And I want to thank you, Rue and Mike, for giving the Guidance Center of Westchester this opportunity to talk about mental health in these very crazy days. The Guidance Center of Westchester, just to give you a little background, is 78 years old. It's been serving Westchester people for a long time. We have about 5,000 people that come through our services per year. We provide mental health services, substance use services. We have an early childhood program, housing with case management, youth services at our Center for College and Careers. And so we're very busy. We're headquartered in Mount Vernon at 256 Washington Street. And today we have with us two members of our mental health team, who I'll introduce in a minute. But just to let you know, the beauty of the Guidance Center is that we can help people in many ways. You could come to us with a mental health issue, but then maybe you need substance use services. We have that. Or maybe you need stable housing. We can help with that. Or maybe you have a teenager who doesn't know what they want to do, so we can help them with vocational training or college goals. Or perhaps you have somebody that needs childcare or has a child that needs to go to pre-K. We have that. We also have a methadone clinic in New Rochelle that takes care of opioid addiction. And so I say we're one-stop shopping. We can help everybody with lots of issues that they have. And we have a wonderful, wonderful team. We have a wonderful team. Linda Afonso is our director, and Mary Mackintosh is our clinical supervisor of our New Rochelle clinic. So they will be telling you all about mental health during COVID today. So I want to introduce them. Linda, do you want to speak next?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm so happy to be here today. So I'm the director of the New Rochelle Clinic, and I oversee the New Rochelle Clinic, which is located near New Rock City. And I also oversee the Yonkers Probation Mental Health Clinic. And basically at the New Rochelle Clinic, we help everybody who has mental health and substance use issues, along with basically anything else they bring to us. But we're definitely there for them. We have a wonderful team of clinicians and psychiatrists. So you're able to get individual therapy, group therapy, family sessions, couples therapy, and medication management. I will leave the Yonkers probation part for Mary Mackintosh. Thank you.
Mary, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, you are unmuted now. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Mackintosh. And I have been a clinician in the New Rochelle Clinic for quite a number of years, as well as in the Yonkers Probation Office, where we have a clinic embedded in the probation office so that when an individual comes in to meet with their probation officer, they are also able to get their mental health treatment at the same time. And we help with all range of services, including family therapy, individual therapy. I've run groups dealing with anxiety and substance use issues. So we are able to really address whatever issues come up. I do see all ages of people from very young to quite old in the New Rochelle Clinic. And it gives us a good understanding of a range of issues that people are dealing with, particularly at this time.
Now, next will be Karen Best. Karen Best is not an expert in mental illness or stress. She's an expert in law, but she's a person that can relate to the subject that we are going to be talking about. So, Karen, please take the mic.
Good morning. I will say I am an expert in stress because whenever I'm at work, that's all I feel. But I am an administrative law judge for the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles. I am a former public defender here in Yonkers. I was working at Yonkers City Court, and I am currently the vice president of the board of directors for the Legal Aid Society of Westchester County. So I am here on the panel today to share my own personal story and just kind of connect what mental health issues can do, or how it can affect you if you end up in the criminal justice system, or how it can lead you into the criminal justice system if you do not take care of any mental health issues that you have.
Now, last but not least, our Yonkers City Council President, Mr. Mike Khader. Mike, thank you for making this possible. Thank you for making the connection. And thank you for our weekly or bi-weekly program that we do with the intent of helping the people of our city and community. So please introduce yourself if there is a need for that.
Thank you so much, Ben. First, I want to thank you and your platform. The Yonkers Voice does, has a very broad platform, not just in Yonkers. And, thank you for being a part of this. I certainly want to thank Ann, Mary, and Linda taking time out of their schedules to talk about the services that they provide. And of course, Karen, I commend you for the bravery of even just talking about this. One of the difficulties that my office finds when it comes to mental health and the related complications that come out of it is, the taboo of actually talking about it. And, I don't want to put it in an email. I don't want to discuss it. So particularly, it's always difficult. And as Ben mentioned earlier, one of the main reasons why we try to do this, I think we started with a small business webinar. Then we did something for, tenants that having difficulty with paying their rent or child support and child custody. And so people are always talking about that. What you don't hear about or is kind of mainstream is the ramifications of what's going on with COVID. Myself, I'll be quite honest, in the last 7 weeks, I kind of lost track of time. I personally felt confused, anger, anxiety, a little apathy. It has affected every person, no matter what they do. And I felt that this was a very timely issue to discuss and let them know that there are services out there, to reach out to through phone call or virtual meeting. So Ben, thank you. And once again, Linda, Mary, thank you for having this. And I hope that whoever's listening can participate and they can leave this webinar with a little more information and a feeling of, there is something I can do and I know who to call for help or services. So thank you.
So let's start this thing up. So stress and mental illness, it's something that's been around forever, long before COVID. But COVID-19 has aggravated the situation. That is, people that don't know how to cope with it and that are experiencing things that they never did because of COVID. So before we go to the experts, let's talk to Karen and ask, how did she feel? What was the signs that indicated that she was having a problem with stress, mental illness? And when I say Karen, I'm talking about in general terms, because one thing is, okay, I'm stressed, but identifying the problem, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, because if I'm having a problem with mental illness, I would probably not be able to identify that. Maybe somebody else would. So, Karen, take the platform.
I will say that I didn't know initially that I had a problem. Like many people in my community, we don't think about mental health issues, or we don't want to admit that we have them. And I think the first time I actually sat down and thought about it was when I was in law school. I couldn't express or understand why during exams I would get so nervous. I just assumed that it was part of taking tests and being judged and having to, excel in my field. But it got so bad one day where I was in the lunchroom shaking. My hands were shaking, and I dropped my burger on the floor. And I said to myself, this can't be normal. But at the time, I couldn't take the time that I had to address it or even find someone, which is always a difficult thing, I think, for people, is to find someone that you're comfortable with to talk to them about the issue that you're having. And once I started working at the Legal Aid Society of Westchester County, and I started seeing clients who actually had a mental health issue, and I'm encouraging them to seek help, and I'm encouraging them to, admit that they have something wrong and there's no shame in it, I realized I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, and I'm like, I have to do something about it. And finally, I was diagnosed with having anxiety.
One of the experts, Anne, Mary, or Linda, one of you want to respond or address this? Don't forget to, yes?
Yes. So Karen, what you're experiencing is very common. A lot of people have anxiety. First of all, stress and anxiety is a normal part of everyday life. We can't avoid it no matter what. But it does get to sometimes a point where it is interfering with your life. And as you noticed when you were in the cafeteria, just, getting your burger and your hands started shaking so much that it dropped, usually that is there usually is some sort of indicator at some point where a person realizes this isn't just stress. I think I need extra help. And, I think it's a great thing that you were able to recognize that and to get help for yourself, because there are so many resources out there. There are so many people in the field that know how to help and provide tools to be able to deal with anticipatory stress or anxiety that you're feeling in the moment. And there's all different levels of anxiety. The strongest level of anxiety is definitely panic attacks, when you start to feel it in your body. And sometimes people don't even know it's a panic attack or know it's anxiety until they go to the emergency room, because they think that there's something medically wrong, like a heart attack. And that's when they discover that, thank God it's not a heart attack, it's an anxiety, because anxiety is something that you could work on and help yourself to get better.
And now, Linda, that's when I can check myself. I see the shaking, I see the nervousness. But what about before that, when I'm at home and and I'm start acting in a way that I don't recognize that, but my family might, and maybe mood changes, maybe behavior changes. Is that something that maybe those around us might notice?
It definitely is something that family members, even teachers or friends, maybe even coworkers, people that are around you may notice. A lot of times, though, people are really good at hiding their anxiety, so you don't see it. But if someone's really close to you, they might be able to notice it and let you know that they think that something's going on. And that's, when something like that occurs, I think it's the best thing to do is you might as well just go to a mental health clinic, such as the Guidance Center or whatever's close to where you live, and, ask for an intake so that you could get evaluated and really see if this is something you are going through.
Now, Anne, I think we need to emphasize, and communicate to our friends that are watching us that seeking help, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Because a lot of times people have this stigma that I don't want to put it on record that I'm having a problem. And because of that, they don't seek help. And by not seeking help, they're aggravating the issue. Maybe we want to talk about that. Yuan, unmute your mic, please.
I'm not a clinician, but I know that that mental health has a stigma attached to it, which we're working on daily to try to get rid of. But if you had diabetes, you would go to a doctor. You know, if you had a physical health complaint, you would go to a doctor. So mental health is the same thing. We have so many resources available to help people negotiate whatever their issue is. There's medicine, there's therapy, there's lots of tools. And the people just should do it. Because you wouldn't say, oh, I'm not going to the doctor because I had a migraine for 5 days. You know, you have to go. And Mary, you might want to fill in on that.
Mary, don't forget to unmute your mic.
Yes. And I agree with that, Ann, and I believe that it helps anyone to tell their story. Name your anxiety, name the feelings that you have in the moment. And by speaking to a clinician, you can learn how to address your fears once you've named them. Anxiety in particular is an uncomfortable state, but it's not dangerous, and you can learn how to control it using coping strategies. And panic attacks are, interestingly, I'm finding from a number of people I've been working with, some of the symptoms of a panic attack mimic some of the symptoms of COVID-19. So that you may have your heart starts racing, you are taking very shallow breaths, and people start fearing that if their chest is hurting and they're shallow breathing, that maybe they have COVID. And by speaking with someone who understands what's going on with you, they can assure you that you're safe and you can help someone. If you see someone in your family having a panic attack, help ground them, have them put their feet on the floor or lie down, breathe with them, help them to feel safe. There are lots of tools that we can help with. And it's just important to know that there are people there to listen. Right now we're doing teletherapy or video therapy. And so we are available to people at all of our usual hours. And we have, the Guidance Center has clinicians who work from 9 in the morning until close to 9 at night, as well as on Saturdays. So there are people available to you, and we can help you through this time. It's a time we're all feeling anxiety, I think, not so that it's a very common thing. And we're here to help.
I think in the era of the COVID-19, not feeling anxiety would be the abnormal. Mike, Mr. Khader, Council President, I'm sure that you have, you want to ask a question, pose a question, something, you know, feel free to interject.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. And I guess this question is more targeted to what Linda and Mary just said. So, and I generally feel, you know, having stress and anxiety, you know, they're two common things of life, you know. So when does, you know, and particularly in COVID, when do we know it becomes an issue, you know, where, you know, a normal stress of paying a bill, the normal stress of, you know, teaching your kids at home. And that, you know, when I say the word normal, where, you know, it's part of our routine. Everyone has some form of stress or anxiety that's individual to them. But, you know, are there any signs where people could look and turn and say, you know what, this is not the normal part of it, where there could be some self-intervention where they don't need to go to that emergency room or they feel that they have that heart attack? So what's the balance of, you know, this is normal stress of being a parent. This is the normal stress of being out of a job, as opposed to, hold on a second, something is not right here, you know, and I might need that professional help. I might need that intervention. So are there like warning signs that, a person or their family could, look for?
Anyone wants to address?
Yes. So I think with normal everyday anxiety, even with normal COVID anxiety, you're able to get past it at some point during your day. You're able to tell yourself certain things like, okay, this is going on and it's really scary, but I'm going to do this, this, and this to make sure that I stay safe. And then you're able to like alleviate your anxiety. When it gets past that, where you're finding that you don't feel like you have control over it anymore, and then it is really consuming your life, the anxiety is really consuming your life, and that you can't find any solutions to be able to calm yourself or distract yourself, at that point, that's when it's a pretty good indicator that you're going to need a little extra help to get you past it.
Okay, thank you for that, Linda. And then if I may follow up, we talk about anxiety and stress. These are the two common, but and I'm going to use the term panic buying. I remember when this came out, and it happens all the time. Whenever there's a blizzard or a hurricane, everyone just goes and rushes and buys, and this one, and I try to make light of it, but also the fact that there are other signs of anxiety that are not necessary. And I remember everyone was running for toilet tissue, and, the panic buying or the overeating or the drinking, are there sometimes other signs that something's going on that may not necessarily be tied directly to anxiety or stress?
I would just say that I think when people are experiencing more anxiety, they fall back on old habits. So if perhaps drinking was a problem for you in the past, that might be something you reach for again now. You may also be feeling more irritable. I've spoken with a great many people who are feeling irritable. So you want to be there for your children, you want to be helping them, but they're there 24 hours a day and they're becoming annoying. So you may be snapping at people where it's not the way you normally act. You may also lose focus. You just can't stick to anything that you need to get done during the day, and lose your motivation. And I think that there's just a general feeling of unease. Some people are having more difficulty sleeping. That would be something I would say you might want to talk through with somebody. I think people need to be aware of changes in themselves, and ask yourself, is this the way I want to feel? And if it's not, talk to someone.
Now, this following question goes also for you, Mary. It's coming from the audience. As you know, we are broadcasting, we are live streaming this to the web, and there is a little delay between what we speak and what they see, about 20 seconds. So this question comes from Jean Barno Marciano. How does telehealth works?
So telehealth works. We set up appointments just as we would in the office. So we'll have a full 45-minute session with a client. If one has a video, it works a little bit better, particularly if it's a new client that we don't have a long history with. It's nice to be able to see someone's face and read their emotions. But otherwise, it will be by phone. And we listen, we ask questions about what people are experiencing, and it runs really very much like any other therapy session. And I'm finding that most people really enjoy it, particularly at this time when they don't have to leave the house. So that relieves a certain amount of anxiety that somebody is there. And I have clients who say that they look forward to that 45-minute call every week, knowing that it's something that's normalized and it's a routine and something to look forward to.
Now, this is a question that came through an email from a member of Yonkers Voice. Mental health is a serious problem, but it seems like it's more reactive than proactive. If a family member is sick and they look for help through the system, meaning the mother, the father that has a child, and very often they cannot get help. But once that person suffering from mental illness does something serious, that all the eyes focus on them and we talk about mental illness, but not much is done to prevent that. Anyone wants to address that?
I think you're absolutely right. A lot of times nobody realizes what is happening with the person until it gets to a point where now everybody's eyes are on them. Unfortunately, yes, we would love to be proactive with everything in life, but when it is hidden and it's not noticeable, we can't be until it's actually even more prominent. So at that point, the best bet is for the family member to be able to know the resources out there. I'm going to provide the resource for the Guidance Center. Our phone number is 914-613-0700, extension 7104 is our intake department. And our intake worker is very nice. You could ask her questions to see if this is the right match for you. And she knows about all of our different departments. So she would be able to help you to determine if what you might need is substance use or you might need mental health. And she'll help place you in the right area to be able to get an assessment to see what we could do to help you further.
Well, Linda, maybe I didn't pose my question correctly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Of course, you cannot address something that you don't know. You cannot handle something that it's unknown to anyone. But my question is, when the mother of the father of that child, so those around that child, notice the problem and they seek help, very often they cannot get the help because the system is not set up to take proactive. We just talk about it once we see something really bad, then we address the issue.
Mm-hmm. So if they're finding that they're not able to get the help that they need, there are different levels of care. So they might want to check different avenues out. There's hospitalization, there's partial hospitalization, which is a step down from hospitalization. There's day treatment programs and outpatient therapy. I'm not sure if I'm I'm getting the question
well,
you were asking.
My only reason for posing the question in that way, it's so parents can understand, look, if you seek for help in a particular place and you are not getting the answer that you want, look for help elsewhere.
Yes, exactly.
Go for a second opinion. Don't just, okay, I'm done here. Yeah. Now, Mike, anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I do. But before that, I believe Karen may have had a comment. And then
sure. Yes,
Karen, I'll have a follow-up.
I'll say to that question or that comment, I saw that very often practicing as a public defender in the criminal justice system, because you would have a parent who wants their child to seek some type of help, but don't know where to go. And then the child might do something. They call the police, and they believe that once the child is arrested, then the child would be forced into some type of treatment program. And unfortunately, that's not why the system exists. It doesn't do a good job of helping with mental health issues. It can actually create a greater problem, because if the person isn't compliant, then the court might view it as them being disrespectful or not seeing the value of the help, and it might affect their plea deal if they were given one, or it might affect the case being dismissed if they're considered non-compliant. I will say that a way we can help the issue being proactive is what we're doing now, which is having a forum and speaking about it, and to basically reduce the stigma, and hopefully there will be more services available to people in order for them to have options. And also, if you have a healthcare provider, like if I take an annual physical every year, and my doctor literally says to me, "How are you feeling?" So having that part of the assessment and being able to have a referral through your primary doctor can be important.
Anne, would you like to say anything about this?
No, I think that you covered it. That's very important. And also family members, if they're having trouble with another family member, can also make a call to teletherapy to find tools that they can use to moderate what's happening. So lots of options.
Mary?
I just add, I do believe it's important if you notice a child who's struggling to seek help quickly. You may be able to get it through the school, and we have clinics in many of the schools locally, but come in for a family therapy session. We could talk to the child individually. We can talk to you as a family. It may be something that the child is suffering, perhaps is being bullied in school. But as Karen was saying, get to it before it becomes a legal problem. I began my career in the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, working with women there, and often I would say to them, "Didn't anyone ever ask you if this was a problem?" And they say, "No, you're the first person who's really listened to this." So listen to your children, listen to your family members, and don't be afraid to seek help if you're struggling before it reaches a point of feeling angry and acting out.
Thank you. I'd like to have a follow-up on that, Mary. And, just to let you know that this is everyone's susceptible. These are one of the words susceptible to it. You know what I'm trying to say.
Right, susceptible, yes.
Right now, for example, we're using a Zoom format. There's the Facebook Live, and there's, so these virtual online ways of communicating. And I got children. I got my daughter. She's turning 10 next week. So, and it goes about the cyber bullying, and again, it's great to be home where, I'm spending more time with the children and my wife, time that I know in a normal world, I would not have been. What I'm also recognizing is that, one, the addiction to electronics has been exacerbated, but also that the tone and tenor of children has changed, where, we use the term of, cyberbullying. How do, now, and I don't know if this could be answered, Mary Linda or Ann, when is it, kids will be kids, or as opposed to, hold on one second, this is, a group of kids are ganging up on one person, because, that's how my daughter felt. She goes, I have my friends and they talk, and because their exclusive way of talking was through online and FaceTime and such. But, so what are the signs of that, of a disagreement? Or, hold on a second, this is an example of cyberbullying. And we're not talking about fake accounts. We're talking about people that, they know. That's something that you could comment on, would be helpful.
So I think, kids, like you said, sometimes kids will be kids. They argue about the silliest things, and then the next day they're best friends again.
Linda, even adults do that. Let's be clear, even adults argue about silly things.
Exactly. But I think when it gets to a point where it just doesn't stop, and then they start adding more people in on it, and it's not just an issue between you and your friends that you're having. It's turning into like a group issue, and now everybody has a comment, and making the child to be out, the child to be like the victim. I guess they feel more victimized when there's more people involved, when the bullying or picking on doesn't stop, when there's really, you could tell there's no that they're not looking for a resolution. They're not trying to figure out the problem. They're just kind of just attacking verbally or physically. And then also, like you said, now everything is social media and stuff. So that's a problem too, because in the past, kids went to school, got picked on, they were able to come home and get at least some relief because they were with their family. Now they're coming home, they're going on social media, and they just can't escape it. So I think it's definitely a problem when your child can't escape it, when more than one child's involved, and when you could tell it's not that they're trying to look for a resolution or they're just venting about something, that they're making your child be the victim.
Thank you for that, Linda. Because originally, Ben, and I think you've seen my kids. I was thinking, hold on a second, these are 8, 9-year-old, leave it alone type of thing, but then you started seeing how it was fermenting, and it was literally affecting her emotions. And so sometimes it's good to say, you know what, I'm not the only person dealing with this. So let's that it's a systemic issue. So thank you.
Yeah,
I would just add, Mike, to it that for all parents, that you're the expert on your children. You know your children better than anyone else. So when you see something going on, when a child's withdrawing from another friend, when they're not getting out of bed at the same time they usually do, they don't seem to have their usual energy or appetite, something's going on. And if they're not telling you, then seek someone for them to talk to.
Now, what about those parents who have the kid who is the bully, who has been a bully, that his behavior has always been the same since he was 6 years old until he's 12 years old, and that might not be able to see that, and they might not be able to realize that there is a mental issue. The mental stress is not just for the victim, but also for the one who victimizes the victim. How do we address? How do parents say, okay, this is not right? The kid himself or herself might not be able to ask for help, but the parent can see that something is just not right there, I think. Anyone wants to talk about it, or mute point?
No, it's actually a very important point. I think the most complicated part about it is parents want to think that their children are perfect, or at least close to perfect. And it's hard I think it's really, it could be devastating for a parent to realize that their child is the bully, because that's the last thing most people want out of their child, is to see that they are a bully. So they might not recognize it themselves, but maybe teachers would be able to give feedback, or someone from the school. If you're receiving phone calls or emails from other parents, pay attention to what they're saying. Don't automatically think that your child is innocent and they're doing it out of self-defense. Like, really try your hardest. I know it's easier said than done, but try your hardest to have an open mind and try to see what's going on with your child, why they are picking on another child. But like Mary said earlier too, the same symptoms that maybe the victim of the bullying is experiencing, you might also see that in the bully, because kids bully for a reason. They bully because something's going on in their life. So take a look at how they're acting. Are they avoiding things? Are they easily irritated? Are they undersleeping? Are they oversleeping? Are they overeating? Do they not have an appetite? Take a look at all those other areas in their life, because something is going on that is creating them to be to bully another child. Bullying is almost like an outlet for them, because they don't know how to cope with what's going on inside of them.
So now let's just move into another segment. The Guidance Center of Westchester also has a pre-K and child care center in New Rochelle. What is that? Is that to address kids that might have a problem? Is this a regular center? Can anyone talk about this?
I'll talk about that a little bit. We have children from birth to 5 years old there, and we have a very we have a social emotional curriculum with the kids. So we work carefully with the kids on their social emotional development for typical and special needs children. We do preschool education. One of the things I'm amazed by is that we have on site an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, and ready to work with anyone that needs help. We give support to families who are impacted by autism and developmental delays. We have something called a parent college where the parents get together with the teachers and they talk about whatever the parents want to talk about. You know, I can't go shopping with my child because he runs around the store, or something more serious. So it's really like a family, team, child effort. And they work with, they do behavioral consultations if the kids need help adjusting. Sometimes people, a kid is not doing well in another child care center, they get sent to ours, and they just do miracles with the kids because they pay attention to them, they work with their social emotional issues. And then we also have just typical kids that also have a great time there. So it's a beautiful center with bright light, big classrooms, and our teachers are just so dedicated to everyone. It's a great place.
Now, Anne, normally adults are the one that make decisions. And as an adult, I might have difficulty going to seek mental health or stress help. And because of records associated with that seek for help. In the same token, as a parent, I might have a problem putting my child in a child care like that because I might be afraid of a record associated with my child. Anything you can tell us about that?
Well, we have a great reputation that the whole social emotional piece that they do at the early childhood center it's unusual. They really take into effect where the kid is, where they need to be. They work with parents. So there's no stigma for being there. It's got a great reputation. School districts send us kids all the time because they don't have a pre-K program or they needed a little extra speech therapy or something like that. So I don't think that's an issue.
Karen, do you agree with that, or do you have anything to say on that?
I would agree. I mean, again, like you said, I'm not an expert, but I just think that having more services available, because I'll speak from my experience, one of the hardest things was finding a provider that I was comfortable with. So in order for me, it took a while to get through the process of finding someone, then getting comfortable with them and going through the process of therapy or having some type of outlet or someone to speak to. But I do think that the younger you catch someone, the more important it is, because again, there will no longer be that stigma because it's something that we grow up with and it's considered normal. And I think parents should also go to therapy, whether it's with the child or by themselves.
Now, Council President, you are a leader in our community, and I'm sure that you receive a lot of calls from regular citizens in Yonkers with this problem, that problem. I cannot get help in this, I cannot get help in that. In regards to stress and mental illness, how often do you get a call from a mother, a father, a parent, a sister that it's seeking help, cannot get help, and trying to get assistance from you?
Normally, I mean, I got to answer that question in two parts. The pre-COVID part, normally it would be, we'll get a phone call or an email that, listen, we're waiting from a call back from the Board of Education about an evaluation. Or, we called up DSS and we're waiting for some help with housing. And normally we would try to facilitate and get the parties meet or help schedule that appointment. Now, during this COVID, those numbers, and the emails have increased so much. But the question now that I get, and I was going to ask about this, is, and Ben, I don't know if you remember when we were talking about testing and child support. The common thing is, well, I'm undocumented, or I'm sending an email or calling on somebody that's undocumented, or, you know what, I don't have insurance. What services are there for, indigent persons? So those type of questions, Ben, yes, we used to get it before, and we would play a referral. Okay, contact this person, call, this person's office, and, we'll make sure that the contact is there. But now, because of COVID and there's no more walk-in appointments, everything is done through email and, virtual. So what I would want to ask is, Ann or Mary or Linda, if somebody was to call for an intake or a question, do you inquire about somebody's, status? Do you care about documentation, or is it because of funding issues? What about somebody who doesn't have a health insurance? Are these services, still extended to the most vulnerable in our community?
I would suggest that they still call. We don't report anything, so it's definitely a safe place. They could still call and ask us questions, and we will help them the best through whatever they need at that time.
And then what about the, health insurance? Obviously, I know there's a lot of public plans, MVP is a popular one, Fidelis, Health Choice. I mean, there's a lot of public health options available, but still, for whatever reason or not, there are still significant people that are underinsured, which is a national issue. So it's not, a Yonkers issue or a local issue. Mm-hmm. If somebody doesn't have the capability for insurance or a copay, or is there any services? Do you turn them away? How does the Guidance Center deal with people that clearly need services but don't have the financial means?
Ann, are you about to answer that?
No.
Oh, okay. I saw you unmuted. So like I said earlier, just still call, and there is always some sort of solution that is out there. Sometimes there's like, what's it called? Sliding scale fees. Things are operating also a little differently than normal because of the COVID-19. So there's also some options of not having to pay copays at the time if you do have an insurance with a very high copay. But definitely call. Every case is different from each other, so we would definitely be able to either help you out or lead you in the right direction. But never ever feel like there's no hope and that you're in a situation where you can't be helped, because you're not going to know the answer until you make the call.
But
that's very good. That's very good. Thank you for answering that, Ben.
But I guess it's a very important thing that Michael just brought up, the council president just brought up, because mental illness does not care much about legal status. Okay, it can affect anybody, and the victim of those that are here illegal and suffer from mental illness that might do something really bad, where the victims are American citizens, we should have a way that those folks are able to seek help and get help regardless of the legal status in the United States, and without being afraid that once they get that help, they are deported. Because if they feel that way, they would never seek help, and any one of us on this panel could become the victim.
That's true. And also, just to add in, when you are working with the therapist, if you are going through any issues with legal status, your therapist can help connect you to someone that will be has more expertise and able to help you through any process that you need to go through.
Thank you. Now, Ann, the Guidance Center of Westchester helps about 5,000 people a year.
Correct.
It's great, it's great. Most of your calls or most of the people who seek help, they seeking help for what? Is it for stress? The diagnostics is mental illness. What are the majority of the bulk of those?
All different. There's mental illness is the overall category, but it's stress, it's depression, it could be bipolar disorder, it could be any of the psychiatric diagnoses that come up. We can deal with it all.
And what is your success rate in those treatments?
I don't know that. Do you know that, Linda? Or Mary?
To be honest, I don't know, but everybody that comes does definitely benefit one way or another out of the services. You know, there's the end goal and there's the objectives, the little pieces that you work on to get there. So you're definitely going to get something out of it. Okay.
Now let's talk about the methadone clinic that you guys also have. Can you tell us how that works? Give us a mission statement and a brief description of what it is. Most of us on this panel know, but lots of people who are watching us might not know and might be wondering, okay, I have a problem. There is a methadone clinic. How does this works? And I think that's you.
I'll just do an overview. We're located in New Rochelle, and there is an intake number that you can call, which is 914-613-0700 and extension 7201. And we treat people with opioid and heroin addictions. And we treat with methadone. And we work very carefully with each of our participants that come into the program. We have general health exams for them. We monitor them very closely and work to get them off their addiction slowly.
Now,
Lynn, or Mary, you add to that?
And just before we go to the other person,
yeah.
The people that seek help at your clinic, do they have to be residents of New Rochelle, or is it county-wide?
And it's county-wide.
Anyone wants to add anything to this? So Karen, if somebody goes to your court and has a drug problem, is a part of the plea bargain to seek help and visit one of these locations?
Well, from my experience as a public defender, there is drug court in Yonkers City Court and in county if you have a felony. And those are specialized parts where I don't want to say it's a privilege, but you've been vetted and it's confirmed that you have an issue and that it's a substance issue, and you will be, I don't want to say rewarded, but your plea deal or the outcome of your case will be favorable if you complete the program. I say that you're vetted because there's a lot of times, and even when I interned at a residential drug treatment facility, to be honest, there were people in there that didn't have a problem, but in order to avoid jail or prison, they said they had a problem in order to be in the facility. So when you are arrested and you might have a drug problem, whether it's because you were arrested for what's called CPCS, which is, arrested for having a controlled substance, whether you're selling or using, you are required generally to go through what's called a task evaluation. And you go to a program, whether it's New Focus or somewhere else, and they evaluate you and they'll say, okay, you're a good candidate for X program for Y amount of weeks or months. And if you do finish that program, it does look favorable to you as a defendant, because as your attorney, I would argue to the judge in the DA's office, my client had a drug problem. He or she is seeking help or has completed this program. Here's the certificate. Can we do something where my client can get a better offer so it doesn't affect their ability to get a job? It doesn't affect their housing and other collateral consequences that do come with having a criminal record.
So that's kind of certification on being a drug addict? I get certified that?
No, it would say I wouldn't say a certificate. It's saying that you completed a program. It's just the same
No.
way.
No. What I'm saying is not that you completed the program to be accepted in the program.
Okay.
So to be accepted, I have to be acknowledged that I am a drug addict, that I need
Absolutely. The same way I have, right. The same way.
certification.
It's more as though it's like a step program. You have to admit that you have a problem for it to be solved. Kind of like with me and my anxiety. I'm not going to admit to, if I don't admit to it, it's never going to be, I'm never going to get treatment, and it's never going to be successful.
So hopefully people will seek that help at one of these clinics at the Westchester Guidance Center before they actually enter the criminal justice. Seek for help first to prevent any of the consequences later on in life.
Yes. I mean, I did have a question, if you don't mind. I know a lot of my former clients, finding forms of transportation was always an issue for them. So even if they wanted to travel to New Rochelle, going from Yonkers to New Rochelle was an issue. How can we, I guess, address that problem?
So I would just say that if they have Medicaid, we can arrange for Medicaid transportation to bring them to the New Rochelle clinic. Sometimes it's easier for them to get to Mount Vernon from Yonkers than it is to New Rochelle, and we also have a mental health clinic there. And just to your point before about clients who are in the criminal justice system, certainly in the probation office, a lot of the people I'm seeing, I'm not only seeing them as therapists, I'm an advocate for them. So I can write a letter for them to take to the court and say, yes, so-and-so is seeing me every week, is really working hard in therapy, never divulge anything, any confidential statements, just that individual is working hard in therapy and motivated for treatment, and it's very helpful, I think, to the courts.
Well, guys, this kind of concludes our interview. We've been on it for about 60 minutes now. I thank you all, but I want to give you all an opportunity to make a closure, an ending statement. Maybe there is something that you wanted to talk about, but I forgot to ask you because I have a series of questions. But once I start the interview, this takes a life of its own, and there is something that I meant to ask, but I forgot to ask. Is there anything that any one of you wants to bring it up? Let's start with Ann.
Well, I'd just like to say that we're here for everybody to help, and we're easy to find. We're at 256 Washington Street. We mentioned the Mount Vernon Clinic before, and you can call us or email us. Just for the telehealth counseling service and mental health and substance use, call 914-613-0700, which is our main number for everything. And the extension is 7104. Or you can email intake@theguidancecenter.org. We're officially called the Guidance Center of Westchester, but the email is intake@theguidancecenter.org. Our Children's Center, you can call that same number, 613-0700. And you can call extension 7073 to learn more about what's going on there. Our methadone, opioid recovery, and supportive services, also 613-0700, extension 7201. These are all on our website. We have an extensive website, theguidancecenter.org, with lots of information on our services, also on what the services mean, and how extensive they are. And it's a beautiful website with lots of explanations. So be sure to go there for more information.
Thank you. Linda, your closure.
Well, thank you again for having me here. I just wanted to remind everybody, you are the person out of everybody that's going to know best about what's going on with you. So if you're noticing that you're just not quite feeling like yourself, don't ignore it. Really pay attention to it, and, ask friends, family for feedback if you feel comfortable, or just seek out help as soon as possible. The sooner, the better for you. And just remember, we're here to help you as a team. We may know the psychological information, but we view you as a team. So anything that you are doing in your treatment is it's generated basically with your consent and how you want to work on your treatment. And at any point, don't feel like just because you're going to make the call, you're going to be locked into the mental health system forever. If at any point you feel like that this is not for you, it is your choice. Everything is your choice. So just pay attention to you and know that you can make the choice for yourself. And take care and be safe.
Mary Mackintosh?
Yes, I would just add that take care of yourself sooner rather than later. You're important, and you're important to yourself, and you're important to your family. And when you come to therapy, you set your own goals. We're not there to impose anything on you. We're there to listen to who you are and where you want to go with your life, and hopefully to give you some motivation and some hope. And we all hope that this COVID-19 situation will be over soon. And we're there to work with you through it.
Thank you. Karen Best?
Yes, I just wanted to add that I'm an example that having a mental health issue, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what race, sexual orientation, legal status, age. You can have a mental health issue. And the first step in dealing with it is admitting that you actually have it and then wanting to get better. And I tell people, I don't suffer from a mental health issue. I live with it because I make sure every day I know what the triggers are, and I try to lessen the effects and understand my body in order to understand my mental health. So thank you for having me.
Council President, you're the last but not the least. Thank you very much for making this happen. It's because of you that we are here. And please make the closure.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. I want to start by thanking Ann, Linda, and Mary. The information that you provided, I certainly hope I'm going to share it on my social media. I know it's on Yonkers Voice. It's very important. Be it from child bullying to the methadone clinic to child care. We're all, there's this common hashtag, we're all in this together, and we're going to come out through this together. And the Guidance Center, I want to thank each of you for taking time out, to talk about certain experiences and recommendations. And I certainly encourage anyone that if they feel that they need help, I'm going to adopt what Linda said, just call the number and take it from there. Karen, I want to thank you and I commend you, talking about your own personal experiences. And you are an example of, you can live with this and still succeed. I want to personally wish you luck on your endeavor and wish you nothing but success. And Ben, as always, I thank you for help co-moderating this and using the Yonkers Voice platform. I do hope that people find these webinars about pertinent topics, very useful, and they could even go relate back and get some of the information. So thank you everyone for taking time out, and we'll be doing something soon again. Thank you everyone, and be safe and stay happy. Thanks.
Well, guys, thank you very much. For those that are watching us, please don't forget to share this interview, spread the word, because maybe a lot of people who need help are not watching this, but by sharing, we telling them where to go and seek help. So it's very important to share. Thank you very much to all and every single one of you for making this happen. And until next time, thank you.
Take care, everyone. Be well.